Welcome back to Reddit Confessions in Psychology. If you're new here, this is where we dive deep into the rawest and most vulnerable stories shared online, and then we try to understand the human psychology behind them. Today's story is one of those that shakes you at your core. Imagine living your whole life believing your family history was complete, only to find out, after a loved one passes away, that everything you thought you knew wasn't the whole truth. This confession is about a hidden sibling, a family secret that only came to light after years of silence. And the emotions that come with realizing your story has always been missing a chapter. Stick with me until the end, because we're not just going to hear this story, we're going to unpack why family secrets like this can leave such deep marks on our identity and our sense of belonging. So let's start with the confession itself. Take a deep breath, because this one has layers of shock, grief, and reflection. The Reddit user wrote, "I found out I had a sister who had been given up for adoption. The only reason I found out was the person who informed me no longer felt bound to secrecy after my mom died. It also explains why mom freaked out when I told her I'd done a 23andMe test." That's the entire confession. Just a few sentences. But isn't it wild how just a handful of words can unravel a whole life's worth of assumptions? Think about it. You grow up, you live your whole childhood, your teenage years, your adulthood, believing you understand who your family is. And then, suddenly, you realize there was someone else all along. A sister, someone who shares your blood, your history, your story, but who was kept from you. And the fact that the mother only revealed it through silence, by never speaking about it, adds another layer. The truth came out only after her passing. Almost like this unspoken secret was buried alongside her. Let's pause and really sit with that for a second. Imagine the emotions flooding through you: shock, confusion, betrayal, sadness, but maybe also curiosity, even longing. There's grief, yes, but also this strange new opening. Who is she? Does she even know about me? Do I have a chance to connect with her? And then there's that detail about the DNA test. The mother's reaction, the freaking out, suddenly makes perfect sense in hindsight. That's the thing about family secrets. They often show themselves in little cracks, little overreactions, little moments of silence that only make sense later. Hearing this confession, I can't help but feel such empathy for both sides. On one hand, for the person confessing, because learning something like this can feel like the ground beneath you has shifted. Everything from family traditions to your own reflection in the mirror suddenly feels different when you know there's someone out there connected to you in a way you never realized. But I also feel for the mother. Whatever her reasons were, she carried this secret for her whole life. Maybe it was shame. Maybe it was fear of judgment. Maybe it was a decision she thought was best at the time. Holding on to a secret of that magnitude isn't easy. It changes you. It creates distance between who you are and what you allow others to see. And when you add the element of death, the fact that the secret only surfaced after she passed, it complicates the grief. Because you're not just grieving your mother. You're grieving the fact that you never got to ask her why. You never got to hear her story, her reasoning, or her feelings. You're left piecing it together from silence. That's heartbreaking. And yet, it's also so deeply human. So let's talk about why this kind of family revelation hits us so hard. Here's the thing about our minds. We crave continuity. We build our identities like a story, with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And family plays a huge role in that story. Parents, siblings, grandparents, they're the main characters in the narrative of who we are. When a secret like this comes out, it disrupts the entire storyline. It's like suddenly being handed a missing chapter of your own life. You realize that the story you thought was complete was actually edited. Someone tore out pages, and now you're forced to fit them back in. Then there's the psychology of secrecy itself. Studies show that when families keep secrets, especially big ones, they pass down not just the silence, but the emotional weight of that silence. The stress, the guilt, the hidden shame. It doesn't disappear. It lingers in behaviors, in reactions, in the way people relate to each other. Think about the mom freaking out at the DNA test. That wasn't just about the test. That was decades of secrecy bubbling up in a single moment. And let's be real, family secrets aren't always about malice. Sometimes they come from fear of judgment or from wanting to protect someone. Maybe the mother thought that she was protecting her child from confusion or pain. Maybe she feared rejection or stigma. But here's the paradox. In trying to protect someone from pain, secrecy often causes more pain in the long run. Because the truth has a way of coming out. And when it does, it often feels heavier because of the silence that surrounded it. This is why so many people describe these revelations as both devastating and liberating. Devastating, because trust feels broken, but liberating, because at least now you're living with the truth instead of a lie. Let's ground this in a relatable example. Have you ever had a friend tell you something about your past? Maybe something small, like how others perceived you, or something you did that you didn't even remember. And suddenly your self-image shifted. It's jarring, right? Now imagine that multiplied by 1,000, because it's not just about perception. It's about blood, about family, about identity. That's the scale of impact we're talking about here. Another layer here is grief. Normally, grief is about missing someone, longing for them, wishing you could talk to them again. But in situations like this, grief is complicated by unanswered questions. Psychologists call this ambiguous loss. It's a type of grief that comes when closure is impossible. The mother is gone, the answers died with her, and the child is left holding the questions forever. That unresolved ache can take years to work through. But there's also hope here. Because sometimes these secrets open new doors. The sibling given up for adoption, maybe there's a chance to reconnect. Maybe there's a chance to form a bond that was denied by silence. It won't erase the pain, but it can create new meaning, new relationships, and a new chapter in that identity story. And here's something powerful to remember. Identity isn't fixed. It's not just given to us. We build it, rewrite it, and adapt it over time. Yes, learning about a hidden sibling can feel like the rug has been pulled from under you, but it can also be an invitation to expand your story, to acknowledge the past, to honor the pain, and still move forward into a future where your identity is more complete, more authentic. So what do we take away from this? Family secrets are heavy. They carry shame, grief, and unanswered questions. But they also remind us of the resilience of the human spirit, our ability to adapt, to rewrite our stories, and to keep seeking connection, even when the truth shakes us. Let me leave you with a couple of questions. If you found out you had a hidden sibling after a parent's death, what would you do? Would you try to seek them out, or would you keep the past where it is? And how much do you think families should share? Is it ever right to keep a secret like this, or is the truth always worth knowing? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I'd love to hear your perspective. And if stories like this resonate with you, don't forget to subscribe to Reddit Confessions and Psychology, where we explore not just the confessions themselves, but the human emotions and psychology that make them so unforgettable. Thanks for staying with me through this emotional ride. Until next time, take care of your stories and take care of each other.